Okay, kids, you can start asking your questions.
What were you doing before you joined the service?
So before I joined, I was in high school. I left, obviously, Illinois right before I joined. Went straight to Texas, and when I've been overseas, I've been here in Maryland, but I was just a high school student. This is what I wanted to do as soon as I got out.
While you were on duty, what was your typical day like?
So it's a lot of sitting, which does get pretty boring. So when I was in Korea, we did a lot of exercises. So if there was ever an attack on our base or a nearby base, we were ready for it. Here, same deal. If we have a mission, we obviously take it. If not, we're just sitting around essentially waiting all day in case something happens.
Were you in North Korea or South Korea?
South Korea.
What were the holidays like?
They were all right. I mean, it wasn't amazing because I was away from family, but so like in Korea, they didn't celebrate the same holidays we did. But if they were on, because we had Koreans that worked on our installation, if they worked on our installation, they would celebrate the holidays we celebrated, and we would celebrate their holidays. So it was kind of a lot. But the holidays weren't terrible. Just, you know, you're kind of missing all your family, and it's just not the same.
Where did you travel while you were in the service?
Where have I traveled?
Yeah.
So I've been to Texas, which is where I did like my basic training and my job training. And then I've been to Korea. I've been to a couple bases in Korea. And then here I've been in Maryland. I've been to where I'm at, Joint Base Andrews. Then I went to another one that's actually at DC.
Do you remember any particular funny or unusual event?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry. Do you remember any particular funny or unusual event?
Off the top of my head, I don't think. I mean, we've had some funny moments like in my training and stuff. But I feel like we've had more like serious type of scenarios that have kind of stuck with me. Like when I was in Korea, right before I was supposed to come back to the States, North Korea was shooting missiles at South Korea and Japan, so we were kind of stuck. And we basically had to do a big show of force towards North Korea to show that, hey, you know, we're still big and bad. So North Korea would kind of calm down, but not sure what that's done.
Who was there to greet you when you got home, and how were you treated when you got home?
I mean, I wasn't treated any differently, I would say. Definitely people were nicer in a way, but there's also a lot of people that when they find out you're military, they're very against it. But I don't think I've had any bad experiences when I got back home. It was a big like culture shock, so everything coming from Korea back to here was so much more different. And it did take me a little bit to get back used to how the States ran, and how much more different it is over there compared to here.
Do you think war is worth the price?
Do I think war is worth the price? That's a tough question. No, not really, but I mean, I work for, you know, the government, so if that's what they think the right call is, I've just kind of got to go and do it.
What was the food like?
The food in Korea?
Yeah.
Oh, 10 times better than over here. I don't know if any of you guys have had any Korean type of barbecue or food of the sorts, but it is 10 out of 10 over there. When you guys are able to travel, I recommend going to South Korea. It's so good.
How did you feel about leaving home?
It was stressful. I was scared because that was my first big time being away from home. And I mean, it was hard to leave because that's all I'd just been around family my whole life and never really left home. And if I did leave home, it was with them. But it was a scary experience. But once you go through with it, it's like, wow, I was being a big baby.
Have you ever slept in one of the Korean countries, or did you sleep? Did you sleep in a hotel or something?
So on every base, we have what are called dorms. So for the Army, they're called barracks. And you get assigned a room. So in Korea, I had 4 other roommates, but I had my own bedroom. And we just shared a living space. But there were a lot of hotels I did stay at. There was a couple that were about 3 hours up north of my Seoul. And I really liked the Korean hotels. They were very clean and the Koreans were very friendly.
Did you see any combat except that wasn't in North Korea or South Korea?
I haven't seen any here. More so just since I'm a police officer, I just see maybe an occasional arrest, but we don't really get a whole lot besides maybe threats over here, which we take much more serious than what another base would because of what we have to protect.
South Korea, was it basically more better than America? Was it kind of like the future?
Yeah, so everything over there is way more ahead of what we have here, but it almost seeing what they had made me want to come back home. So I was like, it was just too much for me. My little brain couldn't handle it.
Did you make any friends?
Yeah, I made a lot of friends. I made a couple Korean friends. I made a lot of friends on base that I had worked with. But the Koreans were very nice to be friends with.
Did you ever feel homesick or going back home?
Yeah, I maybe my first month overseas, I felt really homesick because I didn't know it. I was still getting used to the place. I didn't really know anybody, and it was super stressful. And then the longer I was there, it was kind of easier for me. But there would be days where I'd be like, man, I really wish I could go home. But it was if I were to take leave, it was either super expensive or it was just way too far away and couldn't really have family come see me. But there were a lot of days that I was extremely homesick, so I'd have to call my parents and be like, hey, I miss you.
Did anybody ever get really seasick or something? Or
Seasick?
I thought you were stupid. I thought you were in a Navy though. That's what I got
No,
told.
you're good.
Sorry.
You're good.
What kind of, do you know any particular supplies that you would carry anywhere?
Can you repeat the question?
Do you know any particular supplies that you would carry?
Sorry, repeat that one more.
Do you have any supplies that you specifically need for day to day?
Oh yeah, so over here it's a bit different. So overseas, since technically South Korea was considered an active, like a deployment, in other words, we always, every morning we'd work, we'd arm up with an M4, which is an automatic gun, automatic rifle, and then we arm up with an M18, which would be our pistol on our hip, radio, baton, handcuffs, whole bunch of magazines that made your whole body hurt. We always have a vest with the metal plates in it, so you know if something were to happen, we're not hurt. A helmet, and then they'd always make us take like our cold weather gear, so like heavier jackets in case it got cold. Like here now it's starting to get cold, so I'm gonna have to start wearing that. They made basically everything they issue us. They want us to carry, so like whistles and stuff.
I forgot my question.
Did you travel anywhere else?
Like through the military or?
Like in both
Yeah.
settings?
Yeah, so the only places I really went was the entire west side of South Korea. I didn't really have time to go to the DMZ, which is where the line between North Korea and South Korea is. But I do plan on going back at some point. Outside of that, I really haven't, the military's not really taken me anywhere else. But I plan on cross-training into K9. So instead of doing this, I'll be working with a dog. And they do go a lot more places than what we do.
So like, said, like the Air Force needs help, would you guys go help them and stuff? Or,
Yeah. So like, you mean like other military branches if they need help?
yeah.
Yeah, so we actually do that. Like if Army needs help with something, we will help them. We don't really mess with like Navy and Marines a whole lot. Like we have Navy here, so we work joint with them, which is why we're at joint bases, because we have a little bit of Army, but we're mainly an Air Force/Navy base. But if something were to happen, they're like, hey, we need help over here. Be like, all right, we got you. Just sit over there.
Are the whistles that you carried for like a specific reason, or calling anyone back like if you're lost?
Yeah, so the whistle is essentially just another version. Like if our radio doesn't work, if we don't have like another means of communication, we always have the whistle on us to get at least someone's attention if we need help with something. Or like our other options are like hand signs or your voice, but just a whistle works better.
How old were you when you, left home?
I was 17 when I went through my basic training. I turned 18 in Korea, and then I turned 18 in tech school, and then I turned 19 in Korea, and I turned 20 over here.
Did you have any casualties or anything that like stopped any plans that you guys had?
So we've never really had anything super serious. I mean, we've had people hurt left and right. Like a couple weeks ago here, one of my buddies that I work with, we were doing training and we were using sim rounds, which sim rounds are essentially like just normal bullets, except they have paint in the tip, so that they don't actually hurt you, and they just basically like it shows a mark where you got hit. He actually cut his head open from one of them, which we had to stop everything until they got him out and he left. And then whenever we had essentially our biggest exercise in Korea while I was there, one of the girls that was in the Humvee, she wasn't paying attention because the latch on the top wasn't locked, and it came down and smacked her in the neck. And she was unconscious for a little bit, and I had to ride with her to the hospital, but we didn't really have anything super crazy casualty-wise.
Do they do anything for birthdays there?
So the most exciting thing that we really get for our birthday is a day off.
What do you guys like What's the difference between North Korea and South Korea? Are they like different in much?
So North Korea and South Korea have been split up for a long time. I can't exactly remember why. I had to do my history lesson on them. But they've just been against each other for a really long time, and we've been sided with South Korea since it happened. So we basically, North Korea is just essentially a lesser version of South Korea because they're not as ahead in technology as what South Korea is.
What was your favorite food in South Korea?
That's tough. That's probably the Korean barbecue because they had it where you cook it yourself.
Wait, so I've heard a myth that if you go into North Korea, you can't go out. Is that really true or not?
Yeah, so we actually, literally right after I had left South Korea, one of the army guys that was up north, I'm pretty sure he was stationed at Camp Casey, which is maybe 10 to 15 minutes away from the DMZ line. He got in trouble for something and they were sending him back to the States. And he actually ran across, and you might have seen him on the news, maybe not, but he ran across the DMZ and North Korea caught him and basically has been, I don't know if they still are, but they were holding him under arrest. So there's a good chance that if you do cross the line, you should come back, but you might not.
I've been hearing a lot that there's also only like 3 channels in North Korea, and like that you have like if to like isn't it they're like the king that they mostly call him or something that you have to like
dictator.
yeah you
Yes.
just
I'm sorry.
sorry it's my bad that you
You're good.
basically like have to like listen to him, do whatever he says, like, and you can't like, and you actually bow for him. That's what I really been doing a lot.
Yeah, they kind of just do what they want over there. We don't really have a say in how their dictator or leader, whatever they want to call him, what they do with their people. But obviously that's something that we highly frown upon, and, we wish we could help them, but there's really only so much we can do.
Okay, kids, we're running out of time. Would you like to say anything or a last question?
What is your military branch and rank?
So I'm in the Air Force and I'm an E3.
Okay, and what would you kids like to say to her today before she goes?
Thank you for
Thank
teaching
you.
us about this stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun talking to you guys.
Okay, have a great day and be safe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.